You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
On this Cabral Concept, excited to get into today's topic, which is how to be productive even when you're not motivated. It's a really important topic, I believe, because there's no way that someone wakes up every single day, 365 days a year, and is absolutely motivated and focused to do their work. Now, the work will come down to many different areas of your life, and I'm going to go over those today. We all have a different focus for what's important to us. Sometimes it's our career, sometimes it's relationships, sometimes it's body transformation, sometimes it's our health, or maybe even our spirituality. So we'll explore those today, but what I wanted to go through was that we have to do the work day in and day out no matter what, because if we don't do the work, then we get off track. When we get off track, we start to get lethargic. When we get lethargic, we see ourselves not moving forward in life. We're not following our passion. We're not living our purpose. And then we become anxious, or we start to feel depressed or run down. So what I need you to do is stay focused on what you're looking to achieve. But then also, when you have those down times, when you got a little less sleep, when you are tired, how do you push through that? How do you move through that to a healthy degree? Now, sometimes we all need a day off. There's no doubt about that. But what happens when you start to slide? What are you supposed to do in order to achieve the life and live the life that you always wanted? That's what I want to go over today. And this is a super important topic because remember, a lot of the happiness that all of us strive for is the journey. We don't know it at the time, but it's the journey working towards our goals. But if we're not working towards our goals, we don't feel that level of happiness. We don't feel that level of excitement. Every time in my life, I can look back now because obviously hindsight, we always look back, we look like a genius, right? In hindsight, we always have what we call 20/20 vision. We always know exactly what we should be seeing. But the truth is this, during my most down moments in life was really when I had no purpose. I had no focus. I had maybe already achieved a goal. And I'm like, well, what now am I supposed to be doing with my life? So it's funny. It's one of those things where we try so hard to achieve our goals, but then we're like, okay, we achieved it and maybe that wasn't so great. Well, that's the whole thing though about this human being-based journey is that you're supposed to hit all of your goals that you look for and then set new ones. And again, it could just simply be, as you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is moving on to that next level. Maybe now, you've achieved your certain levels, that you've achieved the success in the relationship and the career and the monetary and all the things that you want out of life. Well, that next level is self-actualization. It's giving back. It's enlightenment. It's able to serve to a greater degree. So there's always more that you can go for, more that you can achieve. And again, don't worry about the end goal as much as the actual process of doing. Now, the process of doing is what we need to stay focused on today, because I'll tell you right now, there really is not a client that I've ever worked with that said, oh no, every single day I have the same level of great energy or great stamina or endurance, and I'm just so focused on achieving exactly what I want. So that's what I want to go over today is what happens when you're not motivated. How do you still stay productive? And I want to give you a lot of tips that I've just read about over the years, I've researched, I've seen in some of my most successful clients in relationship, career, body transformation, health, et cetera, et cetera. And then I've used in my own life, and I've really seen work for myself too. So the first one I want to go over is this, is that a lot of times when we aren't being productive, we're procrastinating. So it's kind of like, we're just kind of like testing the water, thinking about what we should get in. One thing is I haven't done one in a couple of years, but this is something I am getting back into because it's a commitment of mine. I have certain commitments in my life and I really go all in on those commitments. That's what I want to talk about right now. But the analogy goes back to when I did sprint triathlons, my weakest leg of all of those was always my swim, because I had these phobias when I was a kid with swimming and all those different types of things. And a lot of where I swam were these murky ponds and lakes, and you can't see the bottom, and there's seaweed, or not seaweed, but little moss grabbing you. And so those things always, kind of really were phobias as a child. So the best way that I found to overcome those was not to just kind of like get in lightly and just kind of like tread around and feel my way around. It was actually just to dive in. It was literally to dive in and start swimming and just literally start moving forward, so that by the time my mind kind of caught up with what my body just did, is that I was already swimming for the last, 10 seconds or 20 seconds. And I said, okay, I'm still here. I'm still alive. I could do this. And so I literally just kept pushing forward. It's now something that I do when I go to Maine. A lot of times I go to Maine in the summer. In Maine, I love it. Literally my favorite place on earth. There's no doubt about that. But here's the problem. The water, even in the summer, is unbelievably cold. It's brutally cold. It's a type of water that you can literally only swim in if you're under 10 years old. You need to be single digits in age. Because after that, your body's like, oh, this is actually cold. I don't want to go in this. This is no longer fun. So you're either single digits in age, or you're like my grandmother was, and she swam in it every day, until almost 90 years old. And she just had that gift for being able to get in that water. And that's what she did. But she didn't really get in like toes at a time. She walked right in and jumped under that water. It was incredible to watch. And to this day, I'm still not really there yet, although I did do a sprint triathlon in Maine. And my body's so unaccustomed to that cold, cold water. It was literally my worst swim that I've ever done. I kept my head above the water the whole time. It would take my breath away. And I had a wetsuit on. It was that bad, but it was late September. Back to the topic at hand. Here's the thing, though. I still did the sprint triathlon. How did I get in that cold water? Because ordinarily, I would never do that. I mean, I'm never in that cold water. Is that I just dove in. I just literally started swimming, saying, my goal is to finish this sprint triathlon. My goal is to be competitive in it as well. And when I dove in and it took my breath away, I popped out of the water, literally. But I said, what are you going to do? You going to stop? Is that what you're going to do? You have two options. You can either quit this race right now, or you can swim. And I swam, but I could not put my face in that water. Now, with some practice, of course, I can, but I was not used to that cold water. But what I did was I just jumped in and I started moving forward. So whenever you're tentative, should I do it? Should I not do it? I mentor, just a handful of people on, should I start my practice, my virtual practice, my health coaching practice? Should I start a podcast? Should I begin to write a book? High-level things I'm working with people. And these are smart people. And I say, listen, we just have to do it. At some point, you just need to launch that podcast. At some time, you just need to publish that book. It's never going to be perfect. You just need to jump in that water. You need to go. And if you don't do that, you're always going to look back with regret. And there's a time and place to make sure that you have all your, as they say, ducks in a row, right? There is a time and place for that. There's no doubt about it. But at some point, you have to understand is that you're never going to be perfect. There's no doubt about that. It's just, that's what we all have to learn. And the best thing is, though, is that if we can launch with something that's good, that's very good, this is good representation of our work, then we can figure it out as we begin to move forward. So the first thing I tell you is if you're not feeling motivated, if you're just really procrastinating, is that sometimes you just need to jump in. The other big one is this, and I'm a huge advocate of this, is that you need to start your day productive. I have a couple friends that I would like to just share some of their stories with because they're very different than how I start my day. One of my friends, colleagues as well, a great guy in the health-based field, and he's more of an endomorphic body type. Okay, so he puts on weight a little bit more easily. He's in great shape. I mean, that's the thing. People don't really get that about the kapha body type or the endomorph body type. They think that that's just like a larger body type and you're overweight. That's not necessarily true at all. You're more prone to putting on mass, body weight, all of those things, but you can be in amazing shape. And this person is in amazing shape. Here's what he does every single morning. He uses the philosophy, I've spoken about this before. I call it the 5-minute rule, but he does this every single morning. His clothes are right beside his bed. He gets out of bed and he puts on his workout clothes. His gym is in his basement. He goes downstairs, he grabs a glass of water, goes downstairs, and the first thing he does is exercise. Before he brushes his teeth, before he does anything else, because he is basically sleepwalking to his workout. That's what I call it, at least. I joke around with him. I was like, your eyes aren't even open before you hop on that exercise bike or whatever he might be doing. And he laughs. He's like, no, they're not. Because he's just on autopilot. Actually, this is one of the things he said. He's got his water right beside his bed. And it's super smart because everything then is pre-programmed so that there's no route between his basement and the kitchen. He just goes right down to the basement. He already has his water. His workout clothes are right beside the bed. And then he's guaranteed his 30-minute workout in the morning. Now, he sometimes does a little bit more later in the day, but he does his 30 minutes, oftentimes cardio, first thing in the morning. I've spoken about that before as well. Fasted cardio, not interval-based sprinting, not super hard workouts, can be absolutely tremendous in the morning for weight loss. And this is something that he does every single day, almost 7 days per week. It's just cardio, gets on it. And it's a great thing for the endomorphic body type. You're not as catabolic, and you can do that cardio. So that's what he does. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I've spoken about it in the past before. It's like, give yourself that 5-minute rule with exercise. It's one of those things like, no matter what time it is during the day, even if you don't want to do it, simply get to the gym, wherever your gym is, home, office, wherever, literally hotel room, put on your workout clothes and start exercising for 5 minutes. I always say this, exercise for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, if you really don't want to do it and you want to stop, then stop. That's your 5 minutes. You did it. All right. You did 5 minutes. You want to stop? Good. Then that's your out. You did it. You gave it 5. It wasn't for you that day. But at least give it 5 minutes, because more times than not, more than 9 times out of 10, you'll say, you know what? I'm already dressed. I'm already here. I'm already moving. I might as well do another 20, 25 minutes or so. And that's phenomenal, right? So again, you're not always going to be motivated, but what you need to do is at least just begin to start the motions. Another one of my friends and colleagues as well, what they do is every single morning, before they do, and again, this is something in common. Everyone has a glass of water when they wake up. I do it myself, right? I talk about what I do is I wake up, I've got my fresh lemon or fresh lime. Sometimes I just alternate between the two. If I'm feeling really crazy, I'll actually do lemon and lime. And I do my daily fruit and vegetable blend, and I'll put in my sea salt as well. And that's my water every single morning. And then after that, I'll get into my routine. I brush my teeth. But what they do is they do this glass of water. They actually sit down at their table and they write. They write for 90 minutes before they do anything else. They wake up at 4 a.m. I don't wake up that early. They wake up at 4 a.m. And this is what they do. And here's why. They like to end their day early because they're going home to their family, and I think that that's fantastic. So they're working from, believe it or not, 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now, like most of us in the health field, they do take a couple hours midday to do their workout and grab their lunch and all that. So they're working 8 hours to 10 hours or so, 2 hours off for the day themselves, and they're home by 4 p.m. Now, here's what they do, though. This person is an author. They write a lot of newsletters, they write a lot of articles, and they just start a podcast. And they actually write out their whole podcast. This is a very type A, analytical, super by the book type of person. So they write out everything. And where I'm not as much in that category, I don't even typically do a lot of show notes or anything, in terms of what I'm talking about on podcast. I'm not an Excel spreadsheet kind of guy. I show up for my topics, but I'm not looking at all these different spreadsheets. My team knows that. I'm like, what's the big picture? What's the vision? That's what I set. Then I hire great people on my team who are able to do those things. But this person is super analytical. They have every 15 minutes laid out. Their alarm buzzes every 15 minutes for them to switch to the next project. And they're super productive because their whole business, this person's whole business is based on writing. And so to be a great writer, they need to carve out that time. Now, a lot of people say, well, I'm not in the mood to write that time in the morning. Well, this person wasn't either. What they did was over a period of 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they trained their brain that when they sat down with that water and they actually put on a little bit of music, that got them into the writing-based mode. So, really great. First thing, 90 minutes. And then after that, that's when they start their day. That's when they'll check a little bit of email, but they do not do that first thing in the day. So again, this person, not necessarily, who's motivated at 4 a.m.? I can't think of too many people at 4 a.m. I know a couple people, believe it or not, but not many people at 4 a.m. This person's not. This is not a person, same with the exercise person. They're not motivated to do that. The person's not motivated at 4 a.m. to do 90 minutes of straight writing. That's all they do, 90 minutes of straight writing. They do nothing else before they do breakfast. And if they don't get in their, 5 pages of writing for their next book or their newsletter or their podcast, whatever it might be, they know they can't stop till they do that. So basically it's a 90-minute timer. You need to get it done by this time. And they have it down to a science. Now, may they be motivated today to do it now? Of course, because they've seen the results that it leads to. And that's what you need too. So you need to get some small wins that you can start to see those results. So again, doing that fasted cardio first thing in the morning, well, what are the results? The results are a pound or two down by the end of the week. That's fantastic, right? What about this person writing 90 minutes per day? 90 minutes per day, if they wrote, let's even say that they wrote 3 pages every single day for a new book that they were looking to do. I've done this myself. I did wake up even earlier than I wake up now to finish up my book. But if you're writing 3 pages a day, let's say, in those 90 minutes, and again, it's not a lot of time, it's only 1 page every 30 minutes, but let's say that you're writing at a slower pace. 3 pages times 5 is 15, right? So now we're at 60 pages a month. In 3 months, you could have a book done. I mean, like, honestly, you could have a good book done in 3 months. So you can look at that and just say, listen, 3 pages a day, no big deal. But 180 pages, 200 pages in 3 months, that's a nice size book right there. Most people like 200-page books, not the 400-page books or the 600-page books. Mine's 400 because I wanted it to be my only book that I write basically on wellness, right? So look at what you can accomplish over time. Too often, we lack motivation because what are we saying? Well, what are we accomplishing today? Well, that guy who walks down to his basement does one 30-minute workout. Whether he does it or not is going to have absolutely no bearing on his overall weight and body transformation. 0, nor on his health. 0. But what if he strings together 90 of those? Enormous benefits in health and body transformation, and I'm sure mood as well. Trust me, when you wake up and you start oxygenating your body first thing in the morning, your mood elevates. There's nothing that can, as an antidepressant, that can beat exercise, I'm telling you right now. And the people right now that are lower mood, that are a little bit more anxious, if you're not exercising, you're not moving your body, ideally earlier in the day, you're missing out. You really are. And it doesn't have to be hard workouts. It probably shouldn't be, right? Especially if you're that anxious or stressed. A little bit lighter, just get that body moving. Whatever you want to do, yoga, do some cardio, do some body weight workouts, whatever you want to do, move that body. And I'm telling you, don't look at the results after a week. That will definitely demotivate you. Look at 90 days. What can I accomplish in 90 days? And I'll return to that towards the end of the show. For me, one of my big things is this. Well, actually, before I get to me, I want to share with you one other. I have a great mentorship client, and they have 2 children, right? She has 2 children. She's a mom, and she says, my kids wake up at 6:30, and after that, basically, the day is theirs. And I said, listen, I totally understand where you're coming from. And she said they go to bed around 7:30. So I'm with them the whole day. So I either have a couple hours at the end of the day or a couple hours before the day. And I said, okay, what we need to do then is get you getting to bed earlier so that you can wake up by 5:30 a.m. You need at least 1 hour to yourself in order to accomplish your goals. And I know that even with just that 1 hour in the morning and maybe 1 hour at night, it's not a ton of time to begin to develop what you want in your life. But that 2 hours is a game changer over a month because that's a 40-hour week. So you can put in a full 40-hour week over a month and you can do a lot of work in 40 hours, right? Absolutely you can. And then when we look at that over the course of even a year, we can say, okay, a 40-hour month, that's 500 hours a year. Trust me, 500 hours a year will take you to whatever goal you are looking for. So I love being able to apply this to anyone's life. And I think a lot of us kind of fall into different categories. Even myself on the weekends, I still go through my 1 hour routine. I still wake up 1 hour before my family. And the reason I do that is I'm going to share that with you. So, the one thing that I do is not the exercise and it's not getting right into work. Now, again, that's why we're all different. We're all individuals. And that's why I don't love books or these different very dogmatic diets that tell you need to follow one thing. We're individuals. I can't jump into work right away and I can't jump into exercise right away. And I'll tell you why. Because that's how I'm programmed, like pre-programmed from how I always was, which got me to be a fairly sick, individual, both mentally and physically. And I'm not afraid to say that. So my one thing right now, for my 1 hour to typically 90 minutes before the rest of the world, I give them my time for the rest of the day, is maintaining my sanity. I mean, that's really it. Like, it's being a happy human being. And I'm one of the happiest people that I know. I really am. And I don't say that. There's obviously no ego attached to being happy, right? I hope not, at least for most people. But what I do is I work on my happiness every day. I know that everything else will follow if I just maintain my happiness. So I know that my relationships will be good if I'm happy because I will try to help everybody else out. I know my health will be good because stress leads to 90% of all disease. And if I'm happier, I won't mind eating certain foods because I know that they're good for me. And I know that I'll most likely want to get to the gym because I know that increases my happiness and I want to keep myself in shape. And I know that keep myself in shape will also help my health. And then same with my spirituality. Well, I live my spirituality. Me being happy is my spirituality. I look around at the world around me. I show gratitude. I give thanks. I try to be of service as much as I can. So and then obviously my career, well, it takes care of everything takes care of itself because, my happiness leads to me wanting to do more for my team, and then they do more for our entire community. We have amazing people answering all the questions at CabralSupportGroup.com, at Integrative Health Practitioner. I can't answer. We have 1,000 contacts a day, whether it's through Facebook or Instagram, or it's with the podcast, it's Ask Cabral, it's in the Facebook groups, the customer support for order tracking. I can't do all of that. All I can do is hope to hire happy, great people, set a vision for our team, show what we're committed to, what our mission is, and then allow them to be great at what they do. So my first hour of the day is more mental health than physical health. And so what I do is I try to ease into the day. I try to breathe. I literally work on my breathing. I work on motivation. I'm watching a video, a podcast. And, a lot of people say, well, why are you still doing that now? You've already done what you want to do in a lot of areas of your life. And I say, well, the thing is, if I don't do it, I'm going to slide backwards. And that's the truth. If you do not continue to move forward, you're going to slide backwards. I shared this with the Integrative Health Practitioner Group, I believe just last week when we opened up what's called the emotions module, helping people balance their emotions. And, I basically said, and I used the quote, I wish I could give someone credit, but I don't know who exactly said it first, is you're either growing or you're dying. Now, to be less dramatic, it means you're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. So what I choose to do now is not to slide into one of my funks where I start to get low mood and just kind of like, what's the whole point of everything? And, get in that mood. I could go there. But it's been I shouldn't say many years, but it's been, I would say, 3 years or so since I've been in anything like that. And then maybe it was lasted a couple days then, maybe a week. And then before that, it had been another couple of years. So now I don't see myself sliding back into that again because I've learned so much. Like I said, 3 years ago was a huge turning point for me. And it's because I realized more of who I was finally, what I wanted to do with the world, or my life for the world. And that's what it was. It was kind of turning over everything that I was doing more to service rather than I am. It was more like, what can I do? And everything changed. And part of that, though, has now allowed me to obviously be more productive. But my productive is getting my 1 hour by myself in the morning and quiet and relaxation and just preparing myself for the day. It's basically preparing myself for the day so that I'm in the mindset so that because believe me, it's not like my day is stress-free. Right? It's not that way at all. Like I run 4 different companies and I see people all over the world and I work with the sickest of the sick people. And I have 2 young girls and I have a million activities. My day is packed. So it's not like it's not stressed. So what I do is I have my morning routine that allows me to have a little bit of peace, a little bit of quiet, which calms my nervous system so that I can then meet the stress of the day and say, okay, I'm ready. And that then doesn't push me back into the go, fight or flight and push me back into what I had was Addison's disease. Like that's not what I want. So now I know what I don't want. And that also pushes me towards what I do want. So you have to keep in mind that after a while, all of this becomes autopilot. So my biggest thing I can preach to you today is this, is that until you develop your own rhythms and routines, you're always going to feel like you're a little bit off. You're always going to feel like you're not as productive because you're trying to figure out what to do next. But the most successful people that I've found, they're never worried or even wondering what they're going to do next. Their whole day is planned. And that planned day allows them that freedom. Meaning like it might not be planned to the second, but they're saying, okay, well, I have my meetings at this time and I don't know what's going to come up at the meetings, but that's when my meetings are. And this is when I'm doing my creative-based work, or this is when I'm recording my podcast or writing. This is when I'm having lunch. This is when I'm doing phone calls. This is when I'm seeing maybe coaching clients. So again, it's like your day is planned. Now, again, you don't know who you're seeing during the time of coaching calls. That's okay, but you know what your rhythms and routines are. I'll tell you right now, this is one of the most important tips I could give you is getting your body into rhythms and routines. And I know that I've spoken about this before, but going to bed at the same time every night within a half hour, waking up at the same time every day within a half hour, creating a morning routine can be life-changing. And it's because your body begins to then shut down cortisol at the right time at night. It begins to raise cortisol at the right time in the morning, so you naturally wake up. I mean, I wake up before my alarm every single day. My body's ready. It's ready to greet the day. And that doesn't matter if my room is pitch black or not, because my room is dark. Of course, I have my wake light, but my room is dark because I live in the city and there's street lights. So I have room darkening shades and the whole nine, right? So the funny thing is this, is that you can eventually get to the point where your mind, your subconscious, knows how to move you through the day. I want to give you an example of this. Just last week, I was traveling. Time difference was 1 hour. Sometimes I go to the West Coast and it is 3 hour time difference, okay? But it's always backwards. So here's the interesting thing. I try to stay on the same schedule for the most part of the East Coast time, especially if there's only an hour time difference. My body wakes me up, whether it's 5:30 a.m. in Boston or when I was in Central Time, 6:30 a.m. It wakes me up at that time that I need to be up. It's very interesting to look at that. And there's a lot of studies, I'm not going to go into it today. But if you tell yourself the night before when you need to be up, when you're waking up, now this causes anxiety in some people, so it's not the best thing to do right away. But the best thing I can tell you is this, is if you begin to train your body with these rhythms and routines, you have the energy when you need it, and your body calms down when it's supposed to as well. So next week, what I want to do is I want to share with you, and I was looking back and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find that I've done a Motivation and Mindset Monday on this. But I want to share with you the anchors that I use throughout my day that I just taught in the Integrative Health Practitioner program. And I believe, and although I'm certifying the next generation of health coaches out there, or the future of health coaching, in my opinion, because it brings together the best of integrative health. So it brings together the best of Ayurvedic, bioregulatory medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, herbalism, naturopathy, functional medicine, and Eastern-based philosophy, which is the psychology that I speak about on the Motivation and Mindset Mondays. So I don't believe that there's any type of health certification like this, and that's what we're doing right now. But I want to share with you a lot of these main principles as well, because everyone deserves this information. And my mission, and why I feel like I'm energized to do podcasts every day, is that I hold nothing back. Whatever I do in my practice, I share with you. So next week, I want to make sure that I go over those anchors that I use in my day with you, so that if you ever get thrown off midday, how to get back into it with ease. This is something that has revolutionized my life, and I want to share that with you as well. The last thing I'll add today is how to be productive even when you're not motivated is this. Always focus on your why. Just keep going back to your why. So why are you trying to get in shape? Why are you trying to get healthy? Why are you trying to move forward in your career? Why are you trying to meet that right person or improve your relationship? And why are you trying to take your spirituality to the next level? If you can answer the why, and you can come up with a big enough why, you won't be procrastinating at all. I'll tell you that right now. Your body will be so energized and fired up that there will be no procrastination. You'll be completely productive because you're not working on the thing itself at the time. You're working on your why, right? So for your health, if you say, I need to be healthy, I want to be healthy, any one of those things, right? Instead of, I wish you would say, I am healthy. But let's go back. You have to listen about some other Mindset and Motivation Mondays about that. But let's say that's what your big goal, but your why has to be, why do you want to be healthy, right? And your why might be this. Listen, you have 4 children, you have a spouse, they all count on you, and you also, not only in addition to your family, you want to begin a new career. And you say, I need the energy and the health in order to be able to do that because I want to X, let's just say whatever, start your own podcast or to write a book or to begin health coaching or whatever it might be, right? Well, okay, you're going to do that. You need to work on your own health, right? You need to optimize your health. And you also need the energy to not only have that moonlighting, that part-time career going into health coaching, but at the same time, you need to then take care of your family. So there's a lot going on, right? So then you need your health for that. That makes perfect sense. And you say, okay, I want to be in the perfect relationship, the best relationship that I can be. We all know there's no perfect relationship, but the best relationship I can be. That's your why. Well, why? Well, because I want to make sure that I have a happy, healthy family, okay? You can go even deeper because I want to be a role model for my children, okay? Go a little bit deeper, like, well, I want them to know the love that maybe you didn't feel in your own life, right? But you want to share that now with others. Like, you keep going back to it. So then when you're not having your best day, when you're not motivated to put in that little extra effort, you can go back to that why. Same with, I would say, in my opinion, same with body transformation. It's not enough to want to lose weight, or it's not enough to get in great shape. It's like, why do you want to get in great shape? And you might say, well, by me getting in better shape, I'm then not at risk for what many people in my family had, which was type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, etc. Because I know that everyone in my family passed away in their early 60s from these different diseases of the body. But I know that if I follow the right nutrition plan and exercise, and I keep my weight down and my waist-to-hip ratio less, then I'm going to be able to live that long, healthy life that I want. I'm going to be able to have the healthy family. I'm going to be able to see my grandkids grow up, all of those different things. And you can be able to achieve everything else that you want in life. So always go back to that why. Because then you'll wake up and you'll do that workout in the morning. You'll wake up and you'll write for 90 minutes. You'll wake up and you'll ease into the day if your goal is more like spirituality and happiness like mine is. So all of these goals are absolutely unique. They're all fantastic in their own way. I don't want to change your goal. I want your goal to be exactly what you want of life. What I want is this. I want to create some rhythms and routines in your life so that you just go on autopilot. And the other part is this, is that I want you to always focus on your why. Write it down, put it on your bathroom mirror, put it on your table, put it inside your wallet, put it on the back of your phone case, whatever you need to do. Look at that why. Make a bracelet out of it. Look at that why all day long, and that will allow you, when the going gets tough, and when you feel a little lack of motivation, you'll say, okay, I get it. I understand that today is just one day. Today, whether I do it or not, is not going to matter, but what will matter 90 days from now. Consistent effort leads to amazing results. Thanks so much for tuning into this Motivation and Mindset Monday. Always good to be chatting with you. Excited to be able to do this show. And as always, if this was helpful, please do feel free to pass along to anyone else it could serve. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp hearts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.